we've all been brainwashed, so I need to wash your brain again. That's what I've done tonight. Everything I've just said might be a bit shocking, like the cleaners come in from the fifth dimension. You have all, like, everybody, listen, you have all been brainwashed, and I need to wash your brain again so that you stop regurgitating the programs from the Matrix. We're going beyond the Matrix. We are now holographic thinkers. We have, like some of us, are going to be super powerhouses on this. We're going to upset everybody else. But when you talk of empowerment, it's not about how you dress and how much money you've got. It's can you literally not move from your house and think a whole reality and move people and move energy and create money and do all this just from the power of your imagination because you're so skilled at it. That is empowerment. And you see, when people know they want to wash their brain, but they don't know how, so then they medicate it. They go off into addictions to distract themselves because nobody actually teaches what I'm teaching you here. How do you wash your own brain? This is how you stop the world. You stop this world. You go, wait a cotton picking minute. You mean I've had this powerhouse and nobody's taught me how to use it? But they've programmed it? I don't think so. Think about that. I don't think so. That's right. You haven't been thinking so. Enter the cleaner. Welcome to this class then on metaphysical mastery. I'm very excited, very, very excited to share this knowledge with you this evening. This is the class outline. I've called it magical imagination. I've called it deliberately magical imagination, not using your imagination, because what I really want to get across from the outset is to get excited about this. In energetic terms, the word excited means you're building momentum into it. So that was a fun, simple little exercise on where we use the subconscious mind to sow into. I didn't say about the different frequencies of the subconscious mind. We'll leave that for another class. But my point is that you absolutely now have to pay attention to what you're paying attention to. Because your imagination is where you're going to manifest through it in the image of God, in your image, in your imaging center. So what's what movie clips you're seeing, what you're thinking, these are energy images, and more powerful than words. Actually, symbols are more powerful than words because they come straight out of the subconscious mind. And so what we want is to obviously manifest the right things and move along the things we don't want, see them as lessons and opportunities. But that really, this is a most important lesson because this properly addresses where to sow so that you can reap. The flow of manifestation is from the fifth metaphysical into the third dimension, the physical realm, and that is how you manifest. Okay, what I've told you tonight is a lot of ancient knowledge and a lot of wisdom brought into one class from a lot of rare knowledge. So I'm using the language of the day. Different books, will tell you the same thing in a different language. So I'm just using ordinary language. So we're not doing it too, we're not being too spiritual, but actually we're being more than that. We're being supernatural thinkers. And magic has developed a negative connotation over the years because it kind of got hijacked. So as I say, religion hijacked the words of the Bible, so did kind of the darker energies in our world hijack this concept of magic. But what I mean by magic, I mean like sparkly and amazing and wonderful, like Christmas magical, because it needs to be your conscious mind Christmas every day. That's where I want you to get to, that you can create Christmas every day, Christ Mass every day in your conscious mind, so that that manifests in reality. So what's happening there is we've inherited a mind that this word jinx, or you don't want to say because you'll jinx it. Now that comes from the fourth dimension. So when we speak our thoughts into reality, we are speaking from the fifth into the third dimension. So we come through the fourth dimension. So are there shadows of doubt in the fourth dimension? Yes, there are. So we can reinterpret that in any different language. So is there a moment where you say, oh, I don't really believe that, or I don't really think that? Yes, there is. But this is why I say if you've got to go back to your more powerful source, because that's where you're coming into logic. So when you come into logic, you're going, oh, I'm not sure if I believe all of this. We have to get past that. We have to strengthen our mind so that we say, do you know, I'm going to think this wonderful thing. I'm going to speak this wonderful thing. And if my mind at any point puts in a shadow of doubt, I'm just going to, like a typewriter, sling that over to the left. Because I'm stronger than that thing. Now, if the opposite comes in, that's when you say, now I can see where I have some homework to do. So I'm going to thank this opportunity to grow from here, because I'm seeing that I don't fully believe myself. And so what I want you to do is move from believing that this can happen to absolutely knowing this can happen. Belief would be from the fourth dimension, and then you're just hoping in the third dimension. But if you go to the fifth dimension and know it, now you're a powerhouse. Okay, I'm just going to repeat that, and because that's important. If you absolutely know in the fifth dimension that is ridiculously impossible, and how could this possibly happen? If you're thinking that, you're still hovering around the fourth dimension. But you have to go into your mind where logic would say it's impossible. But I'm saying, no, we need to go back there, because that's where we create and manifest. We need to become illogical. So I want you to go into your highest dimensional mind, think it and know it, so that when you're when you're speaking your words, if anything's coming up, you're kind of bulldozing over these shadows of doubt. You're bulldozing over them because no, I'm connected to the source. I'm connected to knowing. I have no interest in believing, because what's going to do, it's going to manifest. And faith and belief is knowing before you see. And that means to know in your fifth dimensional, in your subconscious mind, before you see it manifest. And this is where most people fail, because there can be like this time lapse, this time delay, because you think, well, I was thinking it all night, so why hasn't it appeared today? All right. But here's why it hasn't appeared immediately, because we have to also then trust the universe to bring that in the right way at the right time through the right people. So that's also where some people fail. So you have to think it, know it, shut down any doubts, project it in, take the right action, and then keep aware of how it will manifest. Because a lot of manifestations, people do have their manifestations happen, but they're not paying attention enough to see that sometimes they come in little increments before it builds into a snowball. And then you go, wow, look what just happened. Sometimes it comes straight through. Wow, look what just happened. You've got to know it, not just believe it. Even if you don't really believe it, I'm saying I need you to override that. You've got to know it, speak it, shut everything else down, get on with your day. Yeah. Imagination, attention. I just want to say something else about attention. Attention is, in the language of energy, attention is currency. All right. So we use the expression to pay attention. So that is a deficit, isn't it? That means taking currency, taking money out. And so if we want to get out of poverty mind, if we want to be in a wealth mind state, then we want to be smart on where we're spending our thoughts, right? Because it's currency. So this is why I say before we do anything, we really need to become very aware that wow, we've just really highlighted our imagination is our magical center. People miss that. 2, we need to be in charge of the imagination then as much as we possibly can. So we've got to pay attention now. It actually might make your head hurt for a little while you're practicing this. But so, yeah, the takeaway definitely of this class is pay attention to what you are paying attention to, because you are paying currency, and currency is energy, and you don't want to be dissipating your energy onto anything that's distracting you. You need to know and stay in that vibration. Right, there'll be a moment where if you keep practicing this, there'll be a moment where you suddenly shift and you go, oh, I totally get it. I totally get it. I come from the top down. We have been conditioned and programmed to think from the bottom up. So that's where we go, oh, I'm not sure if I believe all of this. I'm not sure if I'm very good at manifesting because it hasn't happened. Well, what you have been manifesting is exactly what you needed to happen up until this point, because you needed to learn some things. So not all lessons are in the light. Often the shadow experiences are the ones that teach us what we need to know more. Tragic for your life that you've so set your benchmark so low. 2, you've been completely seduced by the matrix programs, right? You've been brainwashed. What was I thinking since I last saw you? I just becoming aware of, oh my God, I've been so brainwashed. I need to wash my brain. And just to give it a spiritual aspect, how do you cleanse your soul? It's the same thing. How do you clean your soul? Well, you don't clean your soul by going further into the matrix. You clean your soul by saying, oh my goodness, I've been operating on automatic programs and mantras from the matrix and other people's projections and old memories and ancestral patterns, and all this has been going on, and no wonder I'm not that happy. My relationships have been terrible. I haven't got the money I wanted. My health has been dodgy. Well, you know what? But you can fix all of this. You can fix all of this by totally washing your brain and saying, hey, the words were there from the beginning. The more you understand what I've taught in this lesson, sometimes the more difficult it is to then live as you normally did in this reality, because you suddenly think, oh my God, everybody is still operating according to the matrix, and I'm now in this separated world with new thinking. But this is the way to go. Worrying is the same frequency as anxiety. I think it's a loss of energy. I think that worrying is where we don't direct our energy, especially when you've been asleep and you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, or you're just like you haven't slept well. You can wake up in worry mind. But here's the difference between me and somebody else that worries. I make sure that I actively then go, I'm going to shut that down, because that is fear thinking. That is low frequency fear thinking. And just to give you the heads up, worry is always about something in the future. And if you want to be powerful, I need you to come back right to this moment now. So worry is always about a future event, and power is always about this moment. And if you get this moment right, you don't need to worry about the future, because you can create an even better one than the one you were worrying about. So let's beat ourselves up because we've just stumbled on, thank God we're alive at the moment where we've stumbled on this knowledge. So worry is a low frequency thought vibration that's coming from the matrix, coming from the third dimension. We do not want to, as we say in quantum physics, collapse the particles from the field and make that worry into a reality. So, in order to prevent ourselves from doing that, we need to firstly know that everything we worry about is in the future. So that's we can go, oh, okay, right. Well, I need to remove that program from my mind. And we have to obviously be smart. There are things that we need to pay attention to. We've got to navigate through this world. But essentially, package everything you worry about into one thing and just call it something like the worry wart. Because I want you to diminish its power. But if you notice that worries are about future events and power is now, so now, right now, in your imagination, in your mind right now, so let's say the worry's there, and you say, hey, wait a minute, if I've got power to change my reality, then I actually don't need to worry about this. So why don't I get busy paying attention and focusing on the outcome that I do want? So actually now we can say, hey, worry, thank you for turning up because you've actually shown me where I want the opposite. So what we worry about is normally health, finance, relationships, all things in the future. Have people been able to overcome poor health? Yes, people have cured themselves from cancer just by changing the mind. And I'm not joking. There's lots of studies now, more will come out. Even the doctors now are going, well, that's a bit weird. What was really interesting about I was taught the placebo effect, and I was taught that when I was and I was taught to teach psychology that you give a group the real drug, and then you give the other group a placebo. So a placebo is where it's just not real, but they just think it is, and then you can test who healed. But actually now I teach metaphysics, I want to flip this word placebo back on its head because it's been given a negative connotation. So I want to say to you that how about if we realized that if you said to me, oh, I've just got cancer, and I say to you, but I think you can cure yourself completely with the power of your mind. If you say, do you know what, Carol, I'm going to believe you. In fact, I'm going to know it. And then 5 years later, or a year later, or sometimes a miracle, that's what we call a miracle, and you have done. So who cares whether, the connotations from the Matrix that a placebo was not a good thing? But actually, I'm going to say to you, I want you to be in the placebo group. Because the placebo group is where you take nothing and you change your whole reality just because you thought you could. You can change everything just because you think you can. And yet it's been sold to us as if you're in the kind of the lesser group. We've been in the most powerful group just all along, just like they've been selling it to us. So I think, what's the alternative? You can ignore everything I'm saying and go back to the Matrix if you want. I mean, you can't now, actually. Just to give you, just to give you the heads up, I've just ignited something in your subconscious. But good luck with that. You'll be back in a month. But the thing is, you can go back to that. But really, what do they say in America? How's that working out for you? Right? How is all that worry and stress and fear and thinking that you haven't got any power and thinking you're in the back group and thinking you're late to the party and that you're powerless about your future? How is all that working out for you? It's not. So how about you thinking as I'm teaching you, and then you email me in a year's time and you go, in fact, you'll email. Sometimes when I'm teaching this, somebody's phone will ring, and then after class, they say to me, I can't believe it, Carol. This job I've been waiting for and wanting for 6 months, they have literally texted me as you've been teaching me this. See how quick that happens. So it's a great question. That is something we do all have to get past because we've been conditioned to worry. Now what I do is say, oh, I'm not going to have worry. I could worry, but what a waste of energy and what a waste of my mind. That is the number one question. When people start manifesting, they say, "Oh, if I'm that powerful, I'm a bit scared now because I've got this projector in my head, and now I'm going to manifest all the things I don't want as well." Well, look, hey, you know what the truth is? Yeah, some things may manifest that you don't want, and then people go, "Oh, this doesn't work." But what I'm saying is, hey, let's not then. Let's just take those things that manifest that you don't want, and apply what I teach. What are they teaching you? What are you learning? Well, you're learning that one, you're a great manifester, but two, you just got your ometer pointing in the other direction. So you're brilliant at manifesting, but you just didn't want to manifest that. But so how can we move past that? We can say, okay, so I must have a program back here that's I need to get the mechanic in because like, I need to realign that because I am manifesting, but I'm oops. And so you just have to say to yourself, okay, I'm going to take this as a good opportunity. I'm going to speak my words. I'm going to rewrite the program. I'm going to update my database. So I'm going to say to myself, well, one, credit for manifesting, because like I said it and wow, it just appeared. So two, but also it wasn't what I wanted. So how can I correct that? I can correct that with my words and my thoughts. I'm going to program it from the bottom up. So now I'm going to say, I have now become fully aware that I have an obstruction in my mind where don't beat yourself up because we've been human for a long time. So it's really is you're really reprogramming your mind. And if you've been alive a long time like I have, your neurons have got to catch up. So you can say, wow, that's amazing how that happens. And just see it you can simply see it as that. But secondly, you can say, okay, what lesson can I learn from that? What lesson can I learn from that very thing I didn't want that's just appeared? So you're still using the experience. I'd manifested the snake of illusion, and I teach consciousness and metaphysics. So I need to have a look at that. And then I thought, oh no, I'm going to give myself credit because, firstly, that word snake should hit anybody's. It should hit your intuition. If somebody declares themselves a spirit animal and it's a snake, if that doesn't hit your intuition, book a one-to-one with me, right? Secondly, religious Bible wise, all right, the king of deception has just manifested in my reality. Why on earth would I have allowed that to happen, created that to happen, made that happen? And then I suddenly realized that because it's not true. Because he represents everything that is fake and fearful and worrisome and poverty. And I'll just share this as well with you. When I was in India recently, when I was at the temple, I walked past these big copper um, carved in symbols wheels. And as I walked past, I thought, I don't know what they're here for, probably here for a reason. So I'm going to touch them all and spin them. And I span all of these wheels. And when I got to the end, the voice in my head said, Carol, it's all vanities. And then I thought, oh, that's what that snake is. Vanity. Vanity, you might think vain means, when you look in the mirror and think, oh, I'm all that. No, vanities, all the errors of your thinking. The word vanity means you have not thought correctly. All right, you're either thinking correctly or you're in vanity. And vanity is your worry mind. And vanity is your fear-based mind. So when a vanity appears in your reality, you can say, oh, I see where my homework is. But instead of getting caught up in, oh my God, I can't believe I manifested the worst thing you can manifest, I'm going to say, we are measured by the strength of our enemies, by the opposite. So I must be a serious powerhouse to be reckoned with, for the snake of the universe to have manifested in my reality. I actually must have a really powerful mind. So I've taken it as a compliment. I could have collapsed into, oh my God, what am I doing? I'm teaching people manifesting and I've manifested the snake of deception, of whether it's in the Bible or this world or money or health, and I've manifested the worst way to think. But let me tell you something else I know. The snake does not exist in reality. I symbolise the female, the anima, the Eve, and the snake has just tried to tempt me on social media. I mean, it's classic, isn't it? If that isn't a classic pattern, an archetypal pattern. So if you manifest the worst thing, I want you to say, wow, okay, there's some homework then, but what can I take from this? I can collapse into panic, or I can really think, does that exist? It's not that, like I say, it's not that I never have a worry, it's that I don't obsess about the worry. What I do is obsess about creating something better. So I take the same energy and I think, oh, I have a choice here. Shall I collapse into the worry of it all, or should I just say, hey, that's in the future anyway. Why don't I just work on today? Why don't I just actually put all my energy and effort into what do I want to manifest today? And let's see if I can change even a little bit for the positive today by just my thoughts and my words. Why don't I do that? Why don't I stop energy? Worry is an energy hemorrhage 101 from the Matrix. We've been programmed and taught to worry. We're manipulativable. And if there's any manipulation going in your subconscious mind, I want you to be doing it, not the Matrix. Be unmanipulativable. I was thinking that they say, there's this common expression, oh, you can't make this up. But actually, perhaps we can. Perhaps we can make this shit up. If we're manifesting, we are making it up. Can we make this up? Yeah, because manifestation is where we literally make it up. Mind before matter. So we are making this up. I mean, I'm being really serious now. We are making this up, right? If you forget everything else I've taught you tonight, you are making this up by your projections, which you may be conscious or unconscious of. So I just want you to become conscious of your unconscious, because that's where they're emanating from. You are making this up. So in this world, you might say money doesn't grow on trees, right? But I'm saying, well, actually, it does in the metaphysical world, because that's exactly, the golden apples are the golden apples of knowledge, and so they grow on this tree. So I want you in your gardens of your subconscious mind to at least have a tree, and it better be golden. You better be growing money on your golden tree in your golden mind. So when you suddenly become aware of the power of how we really should be using our mind, two things happen. You get really irritated by the fact you've realised you've been programmed, and most of it's come from your parents in school and the Matrix. But then it's invested in not letting you out of here. But we don't actually need to get out of here by dying. We need to get out of here by rethinking. And we need to actually take almost everything they've said to us and turn it on its head. You are making this up. So if you're making this up, why don't you make it up how you want it to be? Now, some things will happen immediately and some things will take a little while. I won't complicate things more by saying, because there's a certain amount of Akashic record lessons that need to be learned. But you can take my example. So when a very dark thing manifests, the first thing I look at is, well, that's not real. So it's showing me how that I need to update, override, get rid of, put the light on back there, right? So you look backwards across your life, and what are the recurring patterns? What are your recurring themes? What haven't you learned yet? What haven't you changed yet? You do it differently, and you've just updated your Akashic record. So for those of you who don't know, the Akashic records are your personal life script, your personal soul's script that you have incarnated, and all the lessons your soul needs to learn are written on your personal Akashic record. And so as you go through your life, Experiences will happen so you can learn these lessons. Now, a lot of people don't. They can go whole life, they don't even understand this, and then they die. We would say that they reincarnate and you come back with the Akashic record. In this life, I can tell you from personal experience, if you don't learn it when it's right in front of you, it's going to come back very quickly, even bigger. It'll keep coming back and it'll keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger until you go, hold on a minute, this keeps happening to me. What do I need to do differently? Then, so I would say, if you said to me, Carol, I'm exhausted, this exact same thing keeps happening to me, I would say you've either got a program in your subconscious mind that needs updating or it's written onto your Akashic record. So let's have a look at what you're not learning yet. Immediately you learn that lesson, your energy goes up. With this lifetime we need to wake up in. Let's not beat ourselves up what happened before. So if you want to know what's still on your Akashic record, what keeps coming around and around and around, I'll just say that the information that I give you does need to be processed. Right. Don't rush to process it, because you'll upset the equilibrium and your ego needs to catch up as well. I just try and remember as much as I can when my energy drops, when I get a bit fed up about something or whether I'm starting to worry, I just think, oh, hold on, my ometer's just come on. So I need to go, oh, okay, right, I've slipped into old programming. So what would be the best outcome? Sometimes I'm busy working, I'm sort of putting too much energy into striving here. And then I say, do you know what? Actually, I'm just going to shut this whole day down. I'm just shutting the whole day down. I'm going to have a cup of tea and maybe I'll go for a walk, or I might just watch some television. I'm not going to beat myself up because I'm actually doing really well behind the scenes. I'm working really hard behind the scenes. So I'm actually really nice to myself. Right. And I need you to be nice to yourself. You know, in fairness, have they caused us a terrible upset? Yes, they have. Is it despicable? Yes, it blooming well is. Has it been an energy drain? Yes, actually. And I was playing fair and they've been playing terrible. But so now you know that. But this where you say, okay, I'm going to stop. I'm going to shut this all down now. I've realised I'm not chasing the snake. That's their karma. Good luck with all of that. Where can I focus? Oh, I know. Why don't I listen to an inspirational YouTube video? Why don't I do some metaphysical work? Why don't I read the right book? Why don't I just sit and meditate and go back to my source? Just sit there for half an hour. Then you're reconnecting spiritually to source. You see, work more on your mind than you do in this world. If you need to write yourself a note so that when you wake up at 3 a.m. or in the morning or whatever, just to remind yourself, then the more you put the film clip into your subconscious mind, and then don't worry about how it all manifests. Don't worry. It's not your job to think how that's going to manifest. Don't think about it. Here, have whatever you want in here. So let me give you that as homework. Have one manifestation film in your imagination where most evenings and every time you think about it, you go to there, and it's magical.